With a population of close to 45,000, Fitchburg is the third largest city in Worcester County. It's the home of Fitchburg State University, but you might know it as the city where Don Featherstone created his famous plastic pink flamingos. We are with Katie Hebert, and she is the manager of the Rise and Grind here in Fitchburg. So tell us about the history of the restaurant. How long has it been here?
So we opened in March of 2023. We were one of the first newer businesses on the street. So it's been going very well so far. We were very much well received here in the community. So it's been just over a year and a half now that we've been here.
Wow. What was it before? Do you have any idea?
It was office buildings before.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That looks good. So what was the inspiration for this restaurant? Do you know? I know you're not the owner.
Yeah. So we had a supplement shop and smoothie bar that was located inside of a gym in Leominster, Massachusetts. And one of the owner's sons was going to the gym there, and they approached us and said, there's apartment buildings all upstairs. So they approached us and said, we want to put a coffee shop. We want to do what you're doing here, but put it downstairs from our apartment complex. As you can see, we got our beer and wine license, so that was like an extra thing. So we sold the business to the gym.
Tell us a little bit about the menu. What kind of menu
This is like a fast casual cafe. So we have breakfast sandwiches, avocado toast, breakfast flatbread, lunch sandwiches, salads, wraps. We do smoothies, so they're whole fresh fruit smoothies, some with protein, some with not. We have a full espresso bar, so all kinds of different coffees, full espresso bar, all kinds of organic and local teas.
What's the most popular?
It depends on who you ask and the time of day.
Yes.
Probably our most popular smoothie is the blueberry cobbler. That one's probably the most popular. This is my favorite though, the one that you got, the peanut butter and jealous.
Yes. Oh.
We do a ton of avocado toast in the morning. People seem to really love it. And then we do have a sandwich, it's called the Roscoe. So that is 2 waffles, 2 eggs, cheese, and bacon with hot honey or syrup inside. It's massive. So that's kind of a draw when people are feeling frisky. They want something big to eat.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. So what are your hours?
We're open 7 days a week. Sundays we are here from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Saturdays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday we're open until 8 p.m. So 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on those other days. We do we have trivia on Thursdays, and then Fridays we usually have some sort of entertainment, whether it's like a comedy night or an open mic or some sort of musician in here. We're usually doing something on Fridays. Wednesdays we like to kind of open it to the public for game night. So bring your friends, your family, whatever. Bring your own games in. We have this nice big table. We do have some other games. We try to be a gathering place for the community because it's before we kind of had this cafe in here, it was lacking a bit, especially with the people that live here, live in the area. Now they have a place they can come in and work, get out of their house, or for any of the workers, nearby, they have some place they can come on break, grab a quick bite.
That sounds great. Really nice community place, and it's comfortable in here. It's light and airy. And now, so the nights that you're open till 8, is there a different dinner menu, or is it basically the
We have a little bit of a different menu, kind of still in development. We keep the regular lunch menu up until about 5 or 6 p.m. And then we just have different things like pretzel bites, loaded tots, all the flatbreads, the salads you can still get. So there's a few different things. Wings.
Excellent.
Yep.
That's great. What's the biggest challenge of running a restaurant here?
Scheduling is the is the hardest part, because some days everybody decides that they're all set and they've made their coffee at home, or they've brought their lunch with them to work, and some days everybody forgot their coffees and their lunches. So sometimes on Sunday it's very slow. Sometimes on Sunday I need 2 more hands in here. So it's tough.
What do you like most about it?
I find it very much like a Cheers atmosphere in here. So we have probably, I would say, like maybe 50 people that come in here are regulars. So knowing everybody's names and them knowing our name and them being surprised that we remembered their name from, the last time that they were in. That's probably my favorite part. I'm also very enthusiastic about being able to offer jobs to the community. There's a lot of like people that don't have cars, that they're walking. And being so centralized like downtown, we're really able to provide some jobs for where there maybe weren't before. And I have like 15 staff, so
Wow,
there's a lot.
excellent.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. We're like a fast casual, so you kind of come up, order, and then have your seat, and then clear your own tables. A lot, if we have time, a lot of times we'll bring it out to you. We really strive to do the best that we can for like quality and price. So our ingredients are, better than some other places, some other fast places. We really try to provide like quality and freshness. So
Excellent.
this is Alex. He's one of the owners.
And he's just sitting in the background, just taking it all in. Well, thank you very much, Katie.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I've got this avocado toast with tomato and egg, and I don't know what the sauce is, but okay. My kind of food. Really good. Beth, what do you got there that matches your shirt?
Oh, yeah. This is called the peanut butter and jelly smoothie, and it's like peanut butter and jelly. It's got a bunch of different fruits in it, and oat milk, and it sounds really good. That is good. Tastes like peanut butter and jelly sandwich, only healthy. Hi.
Stretches Pickles.
Yes.
Stretches Pickles. And where are you?
Worcester.
Worcester.
Yeah.
Local pickle company in Worcester.
Local people.
We just heard about that.
Yeah.
You did?
Awesome. How did you start with the pickle business?
It's a really funny story. We bought it off of somebody, Brian Vincent in Westminster. And my son and the general manager came to my husband and I and said, let's buy a pickle company. And so here we are.
Okay.
3 years later, and here we are. So.
We're here with Susan Navarre at the Historic Society. Can you tell us when Fitchburg was established or when it was started? Tell us a little.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Fitchburg first became a town in 1764, and it split off from Lunenburg. If you drive around in Fitchburg and Lunenburg, you'll realize that with the big hills in Fitchburg, that if you had to walk all the way from the furthest point in Fitchburg to the downtown in Lunenburg, that it's a huge walk. So some of the people that lived out in farms out here decided they wanted to be an independent town so that you could have a local church and have all of your town business taken care of here. So it's only a little over 10 years before the American Revolution. So that's relatively late in Massachusetts history. And some historians have written about that, about how the coasts were settled earlier and the Connecticut River Valley was settled earlier. But this area was a little more rugged with its hills, and so it was only thickly settled a little bit later. It's on the Nashua River, which is part of the Merrimack Rivershed, and that means that when the Industrial Revolution came to the United States, boom, Fitchburg was in the perfect place to have lots and lots of river power.
And since you had river power, did you have lots of mills?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, when we're here in the Historical Society, we're just across the street from the place that had one of the first textile mills in Fitchburg that dated from 1807. So that's very early, very, very early.
And what did these mills do? What did they produce?
Well, that's what's unusual about Fitchburg is that it has never been a one industry town. Early on in the early 1800s, it had textile mills, and as they developed by about 1815 or so, there were new inventions by local people that made them fully automated. So you'd have cotton and wool textiles. But at the same time, the city was developing all sorts of industries that were what we would call today business to business industries. So there were a lot of metalworking plants, iron and steel. Ultimately, there was brass foundries, but all sorts of foundries. And they were making products that you would use in a factory to make other things. So they were making engines and parts for looms, metal parts for looms, ball bearings, all sorts of things like that. Later, in addition to textiles, there was a paper industry that developed, and by the 20th century, it became very much a paper industry town. A lot of the earlier mills were taken over from that. But there was furniture, there were armaments, things like guns, which one of the gun manufacturers became a famous bicycle and sporting goods manufacturer. There was a lot of publications because of the paper, I think, and because of its placement on a number, at the crossroads of a number of communications sites, and not too far from Boston, 50 miles from Boston.
Okay.
So it was a place where you could go to get books and newspapers, magazines, and ultimately they manufactured and published the books, the newspapers, and the magazines. So we've got all that. And then 20th century, and even before the 20th century, it was an important commercial district. People from all around in this area, and even places in southern New Hampshire were considered suburbs of Fitchburg.
No.
Yeah, and you'd come down here to do your purchasing of things that weren't available elsewhere. So that has really shaped it even into the 20th century, that it was a major industrial powerhouse during the Second World War. Many of the men in the area didn't go off to fight at war because they were skilled workers in all the different mills here. There was a huge population that did go off to fight at war, especially from the French, Canadian, and Italian communities, and the Finns quite a bit. They were hoping to become American citizens, and they just believed in going and fighting in the war. But so it was a major center for industrial production during the war, and then in the 50s and 60s. And in many ways, when other cities had problems because they only had one industry and it moved away. So, and that happened here too for the textiles. In the 1920s and 30s, they moved to the south, to Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. But there were all these other industries here. They pretty much, things moved in to take over those factories right away. So it was really not until the 80s and 90s that some of the factories in the area started emptying and closing. Some in the 70s and some more recently. But there are still active factories here.
There are.
Yes, but if you look at the records in, say, when some of your viewers were children in the 50s and 60s, 300,000 people worked in Fitchburg.
Wow.
Or were in the city, yeah.
That's
it's sort
a lot.
of extraordinary.
Yeah,
This is a
that's a
city
lot.
of 45,000 people, and it had all these other people coming in to work at all the different factories, to work at the downtown, to work at the millions of companies that were here. And now it's transitioned a little bit that there are still factories, but many of those factories have been turned into condominiums, smaller business, other homes. Some have been lost to fire or taken down. But it's a little bit more of a bedroom community, and people go outwards to work. When people are visiting, there are a number of historic districts, and there are a number of resources online, as well as things like brochures that we have here, that give you a sense of the places that you can walk around. in Fitchburg. I mentioned that I thought that Fitchburg was very unique. It's got this great combination of being a moderately small city with a lot of education in it. Fitchburg State University is the first normal school in Massachusetts, so it's been educating educators for over 100 years. And a number of different things that it was oriented towards learning and innovation. And so there were so many things that people would come here and they would try out something new.
Before I forget, I
Yeah.
have to hear about the pink flamingos.
Oh, certainly, certainly. So yeah, I have actually met Don Featherstone, who designed them. He is he was sort of a unique man, very creative. One of those people that is just so creative that he loves all of the things that he does, and it was really something of a brainstorm to come up with the pink flamingo specifically. So he was designing a number of different decorations that people could have easily and cheaply because they were made out of plastic. And so he designed, his first really successful one was a goose that lighted up. And they made ones that lighted up. There's some Disney movie that had a pink flamingo character, and its name was Featherstone. And that was in homage to Don. Yeah. They call a machine gun in England a Maxim gun. And actually named after Hiram Maxim, who worked here, came here, was an innovator in making ether available to doctors. People who are engineers all know the Burley drill, which was used to, yes, it was used to help build the Brooklyn Bridge and many other things. It's the first use. So Mr. Burley was from Fitchburg. He was working with Alva Crocker, who we have a painting of him that you could see, in order to build the Hoosick Tunnel in Western Mass. And so they used it there. That was the first place that they were able to tunnel through using this innovative design of drills. Alan Priest, who was the first curator of Asian art, he really founded the Asian art collection at the Metropolitan Museum in New York City, is from here, and he actually grew up just across the street where his family owned a lumber yard.
When did it become a city?
Oh, it became a city in the 1870s, in 1873. Same date that it was founded, as I recall. It had grown really substantially. It was very, very active both in abolition during the Civil War and also as a manufacturing center in the Civil War.
Don't you have a park or something?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
it's one of the it's a really beautiful space, Monument Park on Main Street.
On Main Street, yes.
And it has actually one of the earliest sculptures for the Civil War, and it was by a very important sculptor, Martin Milmore, who was an Irish immigrant who moved to Boston, and you see some of his work in Boston, and he died very young in his mid-30s. So this is an extraordinary work of his that's on view in Fitchburg.
Okay. Well, maybe we should take a walk and see what you have around here.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Oscar Tokoi, he was the first president of a free Finland. So I always say president, premier of Finland. So the Finns were under the control of the Russian Empire. It's
Fitch.
Yes, after John Fitch. It's interesting because I was told by a local historian that they anticipated that he would become the wealthiest man in town. And so they were mainly giving it this name so that he would really care deeply about the community. But then that didn't happen.
We are with Sam Squalia, and she is the mayor of Fitchburg. You've only been a mayor for like a year, right?
January 2nd.
Oh, wow.
So less than a year.
Less than a year. So how is that going?
Oh, just sunshine and rainbows here in Fitchburg.
Oh, I bet. No problems at all, right?
No problems, no complaints.
No conflict, no two sides of the story.
See, you get it. Oh yeah, no, it's good. We've got a lot going on in Fitchburg, just so much to do, and so it's just never-ending work. I love it.
What's the biggest issue that you're dealing with right now?
I'd say right now we're having a tight fiscal situation, with our budget.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of projects that are coming on, a lot of borrowing, and we've got a lot of funding challenges. I'd say that's the biggest concern. And then the second biggest concern for the residents is the condition of the roads.
Okay.
That's usually what we hear, is the condition of the roads.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you like most about being mayor?
I have the opportunity and ability to affect change, right? I can go out there and positively promote the city, all of our assets, but then I also have the power and ability to make changes as, I'd like to have seen in the past. So now I have the ability to be like, I'm the mayor now, I can actually make this happen and fix things along the way. So, even fixing little things makes a big difference.
What is your vision for the city for the future?
I mean, the city of Fitchburg, we're really an old industrial city. We're a gateway city, but really what is our strength is our diversity. We have a diversity of people, a diversity of, manufacturing, of school opportunity, of different natural resources, of transportation resources. I'd say that, really just keep building on our foundations of, success that we've already established and continuing to grow would be, I guess, the major vision.
That sounds great. So we're traveling all around the state, visiting towns, every city and town in Massachusetts.
All 351?
All 351. What do you want people to know who are thinking about coming to visit Fitchburg? Why should they come here? What will they see?
Well, in the city of Fitchburg, we really have kind of everything that you would need, right? We have, you have a major downtown core that has a train line, and within a 5-minute walk from there, you are in the woods through miles and miles of, recreational hiking trails. And then another 5-minute walk the other direction, you have a state university. We have we have an independent Catholic high school and an independent non-affiliated high school. We have a charter school. We have a regional vocational technical high school. We have education, all sorts of education, all sorts of recreational opportunity, transportation. We have an airport. We have a river. We have a train. We just have kind of everything that you need here, including a fantastic community. So, we have all the foundations of success, and our property values are very reasonable too.
Oh, wow. So if we're traveling through and we want to come and find fun things to do for the day, where should we go? What should we see?
Well, I'd say just to start, we have a community calendar that has every event and everything that's happening in the city at fitchburgmass.org. And that also goes to our main community calendar on the City of Fitchburg website, fitchburgma.gov. But, other than that, there's just, off the top of my head, what's happened today. I'm not sure. I'd have to check my calendar because, events just go by like this in my head. So I would say check the community calendar and you can see all the things that are happening.
That sounds great.
What's a great one is Hollis Hills Farm. I don't know if you've been there yet.
Oh, we're going there.
Hollis Hills Farm is incredible. They have their own maple syrup. They've got bands and ice cream and beer and animals, and you can bring dogs and your family, and you can pick pumpkins and flowers, and it's awesome. So Hollis Hills Farm is a real jewel in the city.
That sounds great. Well, we can't miss that. Anything else you want us to know?
I did. Yep. Born and raised here in Fitchburg.
Yeah, and you were a councilman before you became mayor, right?
Yes, I was a councilor for 6 years.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for meeting with us today, and we can't wait to explore the rest of the city.
Great. Thanks for coming.